Today, DesireTheSeries would like to introduce a short story titled Shen Wenlang Takes Care of His Pregnant Wife. This story is my own original creation. If you enjoy it, please subscribe to the channel to give me more motivation. Thank you all. The story is created based on the novel /DesireTheSeries by known Jianxiao, but it is not entirely the same, so please be aware and understanding if there are any differences from the original story. The rain continued to pour down outside the window of the rented apartment, each drop hitting the pane, creating a mournful and persistent melody. Gao Tu sat huddled on the old sofa, wrapped in a thin blanket. He had been here for a week. A week that had passed as quickly as a dream he only wished to forget. Gao Tu gently placed a hand on his belly. The feeling of a new life growing inside was both warm and heartbreaking. He was carrying a part of him, a part of the man he loved to the very end, but who had also caused him the deepest pain. Shen Wenlang. That name lingered in his mind like a ghost, impossible to dismiss. He missed him. He missed his tall stature, his dependable back, and even his familiar alpha scent, strong, yet drawing him closer. He remembered the evenings after work, quietly watching him from behind, his heart filled with emotions he never dared to voice. He once believed that just being by his side, as a clueless beta assistant, would be enough happiness. But then, everything collapsed. He didn't recognize him. He didn't recognize his love. He didn't even know Gao Tu was an Omega, as he always showed discomfort around people of that secondary gender. The pain was like a knife plunged straight into his heart, cutting deep and bleeding. At that moment, he no longer wanted to stay. No matter how much he loved him, he couldn't accept the fact that his love was unreciprocated. He feared that once he knew about the baby, he would force him to abort it. He left on a rainy, stormy night, his heart tearing apart. He decided to give him up, to give up everything about him. Because he no longer had the courage to face that harsh truth one more time, perhaps it was for the best. He told his family he was transferring jobs, and they truly did not know about his pregnancy. Outside, the rain continued to fall. The tears of the sky seemed to blend with the tears streaming down Gao Tu's cheeks. He gently stroked his belly, where a tiny life was growing, a testament to the love that once existed. A tear fell onto his hand, feeling warm. He wasn't crying from misery, but from pity. Pity for his love, for himself, and for the innocent child. "Daddy's precious," he whispered. "From now on, you only have Daddy. Daddy will love you, protect you, and make up for everything for you." He closed his eyes. Shen Wenlang's image reappeared, still handsome, cold, and mysterious. He knew that he would never know of the baby's existence. He would never know that he had a child. And that was for the best. The baby didn't need a father who couldn't love the person who bore him. He wouldn't let his child suffer the pain he had endured. He would dedicate all his love to his child. Though the road ahead was full of challenges, he was ready. He would be strong. He would be resilient. For his child, for the innocent baby growing inside him day by day. His love for Shen Wenlang no longer mattered. What mattered was that he had to protect and shelter his child. That was all he wanted, and all he needed to do. The rain stopped. Gao Tu stood up, went to the window, and looked out. The streets were lit up, with cars rushing past. He saw a small family, the father holding the child, the mother smiling. He sighed softly, then smiled. He knew he would have a happy family like that too, just without him. "We will be okay," he told himself. A knock echoed on the door, making Gao Tu wonder who was looking for him at this hour. When the door opened, Shen Wenlang stood there, beneath the misty rain, his face etched with fatigue and worry. He looked weathered, his suit soaked. Gao Tu was stunned, unable to believe his eyes. He thought he would never see him again, yet. Shen Wenlang was also frozen, his gaze locked on Gao Tuesday. The persistent longing that had tormented him for the past 6 months suddenly vanished, replaced by a storm of conflicting emotions, shock, doubt, and an intense fury. He looked at Gao Tu, the man he had frantically searched for half a year, standing there, visibly pregnant. His heart sank, a suffocating pain gripping him. He had stayed up all night, had abandoned his work just to find his loyal assistant, only for him to disappear to have a child with someone else? Jealousy, like a savage beast, tore at his soul. Shen Wenlang clenched his fists, trying to keep his voice steady, but failed. "Gao Tu, what is this?" he forced himself to ask, his voice stiff. "The baby in your belly, who is the father?" His question was like a knife, stabbing straight into Gao Tu's pain. He took a step back, trembling all over, his face full of confusion and hurt. He was too exhausted with the misunderstandings, with Shen Wenlang's indifference. He didn't want to explain, didn't want to reveal the truth. "You have no right to ask that." Gao Tu replied, his voice shaky and weak. "Why are you here? Go home." "No right?" Gao Tu's rejection made Shen Wenlang even angrier. He stepped closer, his rage overcoming everything. 4 months, I've been going insane searching for you. Do you know what I've been through? And yet, what have you done? Disappeared to have a child with someone else? You've started a new life? Shen Wenlang yelled, his voice filled with resentment. The rain continued to fall, as if wanting to drown out all the pain and misunderstandings. He looked at Gao Tu, his face was pale, his eyes red-rimmed. Gao Tu said nothing, only silence. His silence drove Shen Wenlang even crazier. How ridiculous. I regretted letting you go, and yet you left me to go have a baby with another man. Shen Wenlang screamed, his voice choked. I was wrong to want to find you again, to want to fix my mistakes. I believe that I could. Gao Tu looked at him, his face full of despair. He was utterly tired of the accusations. He didn't want to explain. He didn't want him to think he was using the child to hold on to him. Think whatever you want, Gao Tu said, his voice exhausted. Go home. I have a new life, and this baby has nothing to do with you. You have nothing to do with me, stop pretending you do. Gao Tu's final words were a fatal stab, plunging straight into Shen Wenlang's shattered heart. All hopes of a reunion, all the words he wanted to say, all the feelings he had finally recognized, crumbled. He turned and walked away, completely unaware that the child he was so furious about was actually a part of him. He walked into the rain, his heart broken and filled with jealousy and despair, never looking back. Behind him, Gao Tu collapsed, his tears mixing with the rain. The baby in his belly suddenly kicked hard, as if to say, "Don't cry, Daddy, don't cry." He hugged his belly, trying to regain his composure. His tears streamed down, not from pain, but from profound disappointment. He thought that after so many difficulties, he would find happiness. But no. He had, once again, caused him pain. He knew he had lost him forever. And perhaps, that was the best thing for both of them. It was past midnight. Shen Wenlang stood before the large window, looking out. Below, the city was immersed in quiet darkness, with only faint yellow lights. He was home, but his mind lingered at that small apartment, at the image of Gao Tu with the pregnant belly. The earlier anger had dissipated, leaving only emptiness and regret. He had been too rash. He had let jealousy and envy blind him, leading him to utter cruel words that hurt the person he had worked so hard to find. Why was he so angry? What right did he have? What qualification did he have to be jealous? He had never made any vows or confessed his love to Gao Tu, and had even caused him pain. Gao Tu had the right to seek new happiness. But deep down, he couldn't accept that reality. The image of Gao Tu with the pregnant belly haunted him, constricting his heart. Whose baby was it? A simple question, yet it drove him mad. Gao Tu's words echoed in his ears, "This baby has nothing to do with you." It made him feel ridiculous. He raised his hand again, gently rubbing his temple. His mind was a mess. What should he do? Go back and apologize? But what would he say? "I'm sorry, I was insanely jealous because I saw you pregnant with someone else's baby." That sounded terrible. He wanted to know the truth. He wanted to know what had happened during the past 6 months. Who was the baby's father? Why did Gao Tu leave without a word? Thousands of questions flooded his mind. What had he missed? He had been too careless, too busy with work, with meaningless relationships, to realize Gao Tu's feelings. He had been too complacent, too confident, and lost the most important person. Shen Wenlang looked out the window, his eyes filled with despair. For the first time in his life, he felt utterly helpless. He didn't want to give up. He needed to go back, find the truth, and win Gao Tu back. No, not win back, but mend things. He would do everything to make amends to him, and to the innocent child. Even if the baby wasn't his, he would accept and love it as his own. Because all he wanted was Gao Tu. He turned away from the window, a new determination surfacing in his eyes. He would not give up. Shen Wenlang stood outside Gao Tu's door, holding a gift bag containing various nutritional foods. This time, he was no longer frantic like the last visit, instead, he wore a social smile. When the door opened, Shen Wenlang saw Gao Tu, and his eyes immediately darted inside. A tall man was standing in the kitchen, casually preparing a glass of warm milk. That sight felt like a bucket of cold water hitting Shen Wenlang's face. An intimacy, a care he had never had the chance to show Gao Tu. "Shen Wenlang," Gao Tu said, his tone cold and unwelcoming. He stood blocking the doorway, signaling that Shen Wenlang was not permitted to enter. "Hello, Gao Tu," Shen Wenlang maintained his smile. He held up the gift bag. "I came to visit an old friend. Aren't you going to invite me in?" Gao Tu didn't move. "I'm not in the mood for guests. Besides, we are not friends." Shen Wenlang completely ignored Gao Tu's words, in the most brazen way possible. He slipped past, walking straight into the house. "That's fine. I just wanted to stop by and say hello. And, who is that man? He seems quite familiar with your home." Su Luo, the man Shen Wenlang referred to, calmly turned around, still holding the glass of milk. His appearance was somewhat different from Shen Wenlang's. If Shen Wenlang possessed the strong, masculine beauty of a top alpha, Su Luo had an exquisite, refined beauty like a masterpiece sculpture. He had fair skin, slightly wavy black hair, and deep, perceptive eyes filled with understanding. He smiled politely, but his gaze was keen enough for Shen Wenlang to realize he knew his intentions perfectly well. "Hello. I'm Su Luo said, completely unfazed by Shen Wenlang's provocation. He extended his hand to shake Shen Wenlang's. "I'm Gao Tu's personal doctor and also his neighbor. I'm here to look after him." The two men's hands clasped tightly, the two alphas staring at each other with sparks of electricity seemingly flying between them. "So that's it. I'm Shen Wenlang, Gao Tu's friend," Shen Wenlang replied, his tone full of scrutiny. "Quite a thoughtful doctor, aren't you? Not everyone is lucky enough to have such a dedicated doctor." Su Luo smiled, responding calmly. "A good patient deserves a dedicated doctor. Furthermore, he is very worth caring for." Hearing that, Shen Wenlang felt an invisible challenge. He glanced at Gao Tu, who remained silent with a look of annoyance. "Regardless of being a friend or a relative, visiting a patient without prior notice is perhaps a bit impolite, isn't it, Mr. Shen?" Su Luo said, his voice gentle but full of hidden meaning. Shen Wenlang clenched his fist but managed to keep his composure. He knew Su Luo had figured him out. But he wasn't willing to concede. He had lost Gao Tu once, he wouldn't let it happen again. "I don't need anyone's permission to visit my friend," Shen Wenlang said, his eyes full of hostility towards Su Luo. The three men stood in a silent space, but the tension was palpable. On one side was probing skepticism and jealousy. On the other was calm understanding, and in the middle was Gao Tu, weary of all these mixed emotions, wishing for everything to end quickly. Gao Tu remained silent, then turned and walked away. His voice echoed, distant yet undeniably an invitation. "If you want to come in, then come in. I'm making tea." Shen Wenlang stepped in, a strange emotion stirring in his heart. The place was small, yet surprisingly cozy and clean, exuding the meticulous and orderly nature that could only belong to Gao Tuesday. His heart sank, feeling like an intruder. Su Luo was helping Gao Tu put away the groceries he had just bought, his eyes only briefly sweeping over Shen Wenlang before quickly returning to his task. That composure and natural demeanor only irritated Shen Wenlang further. Gao Tu wasn't using the expensive tea set he had at Shen Wenlang's house, but a simple, dark brown ceramic set, looking rustic and familiar. Shen Wenlang watched from a distance, his heart feeling squeezed. Gao Tu carefully rinsed each small cup, gently as if holding something precious. He placed a kettle on the electric stove, patiently waiting until tiny bubbles began to rise, indicating the water temperature was just right. Shen Wenlang knew Gao Tu was always this meticulous. Before, whenever he was tired, Gao Tu would also make tea for him. He wouldn't use boiling water but always waited until it cooled slightly to preserve the full flavor of the tea leaves. Now, he saw Su Luo standing beside him, calmly observing Gao Tuesday. Su Luo didn't say anything, but his presence showed a deep connection and understanding Shen Wenlang once thought only he possessed. "Have a seat," Gao Tu said, interrupting Shen Wenlang's thoughts. Shen Wenlang sat down on the opposite sofa, his eyes still fixed on Gao Tuesday. He saw him take a small packet of green tea, its pure aroma spread throughout the room. This was his favorite type of tea. A warmth welled up in his heart, only to be immediately replaced by bitterness. Gao Tu poured the tea, first a cup for Su Luo, then his own. That unconscious action was a tacit affirmation of Su Luo's place in his life. Shen Wenlang gritted his teeth, the smile on his face painfully forced. "I really like the scent of this tea," Shen Wenlang tried to make conversation. "Do you still remember, Gao Tu?" Gao Tu handed the cup of tea toward Shen Wenlang, avoiding eye contact. "It's just a coincidence." Shen Wenlang didn't believe it. He looked up at the kitchen shelf, where a set of cutlery was neatly arranged, Gao Tu's drinking cup and another cup placed right next to it, and the television on the wall was spotlessly clean. Everything in this house reflected Gao Tu's habits, and he knew those habits had once served a life with him in it. Now, perhaps someone else had entered that life, and was even enjoying that meticulousness more openly and naturally than he did before. "I see Mr. Shen seems to like this tea," Su Luo suddenly spoke, his voice composed. "Gao Tu said he makes very good tea. This is also one of his hobbies. It looks like Mr. Shen knows him very well." Su Luo was subtly using his words to probe and show Shen Wenlang how close he was to Gao Tuesday. Shen Wenlang knew this was a challenging statement. "Of course," Shen Wenlang retorted, his voice full of possessiveness. "We have many hobbies in common." "Oh, is that so?" Su Luo smiled lightly, a smile that held a hint of mockery. "Then Mr. Shen must also know that he likes to drink tea sitting by the window, looking at the street in the afternoon, and that he doesn't like the sound of loudly boiling water?" Su Luo had spoken of something only truly intimate people would know. Shen Wenlang was stunned, a sudden pang in his heart. He knew those things too, but it had been too long since he last remembered. Only Su Luo knew Gao Tu's current habits, knew his meticulousness dedicated to this life. He looked at Gao Tuesday. The protruding belly beneath his shirt made him unable to stop thinking about a life growing inside him every day. Everyone wants to have a child with the person they love. He had found Gao Tu with a belated love, but Gao Tu had a different love, a different life, and a different child. The warmth from the teacup suddenly felt icy. Shen Wenlang drank it down, then forcefully set the cup down. I have to go. Thanks for the tea. Without waiting for Gao Tu and Su Luo's reply, he stood up and left. Stepping out the door, Shen Wenlang felt he was no longer a seeker, but merely a failure. Gao Tu's life no longer had a place for him. That meticulousness, that warmth, was being fully enjoyed by someone else. Shen Wenlang knew this pain would be more persistent than the yearning. As the door slammed shut, restoring the quiet to the small house, all of Gao Tu's fortitude seemed to shatter. He hugged his belly. Each breath became difficult, and his gaze turned distant. He had tried to remain calm, tried to appear strong in front of Shen Wenlang, but now, all the suppressed hurt from the past months erupted. Su Luo sat there, observing in silence. He had witnessed everything. From Shen Wenlang's possessive gaze and blind jealousy to Gao Tu's concealed pain. He understood it all. Shen Wenlang wasn't loveless, but his love was selfish and blind, only focused on his own feelings without caring about what Gao Tu had endured. He gently moved closer, sitting next to Gao Tuesday. He didn't offer any cliché comforting words, just silently placed a freshly brewed warm cup of tea on the table in front of him. He is still the same. Gao Tu whispered, his voice choked. Still unwilling to understand why I left. Su Luo looked at Gao Tu, his eyes full of compassion. He doesn't understand because he only thinks about his own pain. He doesn't think about your pain when you had to leave. He doesn't know how much you loved him. Su Luo's words hit Gao Tu's wounded heart exactly right. He looked up, his eyes red and teary, staring directly at Su Luo. He doesn't know this baby is his. He's jealous of you, and thinks this child is someone else's. Don't you find that ridiculous? He clenched his hands tightly, his fingernails digging deep into his skin. I once dreamed of the day he would find me. But I didn't expect that when he came, all he brought was jealousy and accusations. He didn't ask how I was living, or if I was well, he only cared about whether I still belonged to him. So, Gao Tu took a deep breath, trying to suppress a sob. I don't want to have anything to do with him anymore. Su Luo listened in silence, letting Gao Tu pour out his heart. When he finished, Su Luo gently spoke. I understand. You've been very strong, Gao Tuesday. You've endured everything on your own. But letting go is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you are too tired of a love that brings you more pain than happiness. Gao Tu buried his face in his hands. Su Luo moved closer, placing a hand on his back, gently patting him. He didn't say anything more, just stayed silently beside him, listening to those desperate sobs. After a while, Gao Tu lifted his face, his eyes swollen but now reflecting a hint of determination. He was no longer a person who only knew how to run away. Now, he was a father, and he had to live for the child in his belly. I will be okay, Gao Tu said, his voice still trembling. I won't go back to him. I will live my life, and this baby, having just me is enough. Su Luo gently nodded, giving a soft smile. You are not alone, Gao Tuesday. You have me, and we will welcome the baby together. Su Luo's words were like a soothing balm, bringing Gao Tu a bit of peace. He knew that even if the world turned its back, even if love shattered, he still had a sincere friend by his side, and a little angel growing inside him, which was all he needed to continue living. After the tense encounter, Shen Wenlang fell into a spiral of conflict. He loved Gao Tu, his yearning and feelings belatedly realized, but Gao Tu was cold and wanted nothing to do with him. The protruding belly beneath his shirt haunted him, becoming a large, unsolved question. Should he give up? His reason told him to, as Gao Tu seemed to have a new life. But his heart refused to concede, constantly screaming that he couldn't lose him. 3 days later, Shen Wenlang still couldn't bear this torment. He left work, driving to Gao Tu's small house once more. This time, he didn't bring a gift, nor did he have a forced smile. He just wanted an answer. But Gao Tu wasn't home. He stood silently under the light drizzle, feeling utterly helpless. Just then, he saw Su Luo walking toward him, holding an umbrella. Shen Wenlang was startled. Su Luo smiled, a warm smile, completely different from the sharp, probing look from before. Are you still not giving up, Mr. Shen? Su Luo asked, not mockingly, only with calmness and understanding. He opened the umbrella, covering Shen Wenlang as well. Gao Tu isn't home today, he won't be back for a few hours. If you don't mind, let me invite you for coffee. We should talk clearly. Shen Wenlang hesitated for a moment, then nodded. He knew this was his last chance to understand everything. The two walked to a nearby coffee shop. The space was quiet, with only soft music and the gentle pitter-patter of rain outside the window. Sitting across from Su Luo, Shen Wenlang felt his jealousy and hostility gradually dissolve under the man's composure. I know you have a lot of questions, Su Luo opened, taking a sip of his coffee. But first, I want to ask you, why did you come looking for Gao Tu? Shen Wenlang was taken aback. He thought Su Luo would ask about the baby, but he was met with a direct, straight-to-the-point question. He was flustered, trying to reorganize his thoughts.